Welcome everyone to another episode of Around the Edge. I'm Tom Ahles, managing partner, co-founder, and today I get the honor and privilege to have my newest friend, Mary Myhre. I say that right?
You did.
All right, good. Mary's been with us. Man, it hasn't even been 30 days, right?
Nope.
I think probably closer to 3 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's been kind of a whirlwind of learning for you. One thing I've noticed, though, you're always showing up early. You're doing what's needed to be able to make it successful. But you've been in this industry for quite some time, right?
I've been in real estate for a number of years. Started my career in real estate 12 years ago. Well,
Okay.
actually 14 years ago when I got divorced.
Yep.
And then switched over to the mortgage world 2 years ago. A little bit better than 2 years ago now.
All right. Well, I always like to kind of get a little bit of an origin story, give our team the opportunity to learn about you and myself as well, because I've known you from a professional standpoint, meaning we work together. So, but I don't know the background. So, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Coon Rapids, Minnesota.
Okay.
Born and raised in the Minnesota area. Moved down to the southern suburbs. I now live in Lakeville when I got married and had kids, and that's where I've been ever since.
Perfect. So, grew up in Coon Rapids. Now, were you a single child? Do you have brothers and sisters?
There was 4 of us. I was the middle child of 4. My twin sisters are a year and a half older than I am, and then I have a younger brother. So the middle child of 4 and a typical middle child. I'm the peacekeeper, I'm the organizer, I'm the get it done person.
Love it. Love it. So after high school, went to Coon Rapids. Did you go to college during that time, or what were the steps for you after you graduated?
Graduated from high school in 82 of all years. I had my 40-year class reunion a year ago, which is crazy to me, but went to the University of Minnesota. I studied sales and marketing. I didn't ever finish my degree, but I studied sales and marketing, and my little claim to fame is I was a fast pitch pitcher.
Okay.
A left-handed fast pitch pitcher for the University of Minnesota.
Softball or?
Softball.
Okay.
Yeah, back in the day when it was relatively new.
Yeah. Those pictures have always amazed me with just how, I don't know, the motion and how they do it is just is cool. So you went to college, University of Minnesota, studied finance. You said finance or real estate, or what were you studying for? Actually,
I started out in nursing.
Okay.
Pediatric nurse practitioner, because I always said that if I had my career to do over with, I would work with kids.
Yeah.
So I started out as pediatric nurse practitioner. Then I ended up volunteering when I was there, when I wasn't on the softball field and training or going to classes at the University of Minnesota, and realized that with the babies, I would never be able to leave them and not be absorbed by them when I wasn't at wherever I was working or volunteering. So always knew I was good in sales and switched my degree to sales and marketing.
So graduated from?
I didn't end up finishing my degree. I was engaged at the time. We were going to move to California, and I was going to finish my degree out in California when I got residency, and then got some jobs in marketing and advertising and just never turned back.
Yeah, that's kind of when you really get your education anyways. I know for me, it was kind of the same way. I started college briefly, but then just got into it. And it's like, okay, I'm watching my friends who, I'm glad that they went. I want to make sure my daughter goes to college, but it was kind of the same for me. It was like, okay, I can jump into this now, not take on hundreds of $1,000s of debt and get my actual education in the business, right?
Yep.
So what was your first, I know we talked about you've been in mortgage real estate for roughly 14 years. What were the first jobs that you had coming out of college? Your first, sales jobs? What's your background?
Initially, I did. If you take a look at any like Cub Foods or any of those types of businesses, you take a look at the back of the receipts. I sold receipt tape advertising.
Okay.
And I ended up doing all kinds of different advertising, transitioned from that to doing brochures for builders.
Yep.
And I joke about this, but it's really true. When I was younger, I actually went to a women's small business event when I was doing brochures for real estate agents and for builders, and I would take pictures, inside, outside shots of their homes, and where is the location, what do you want to, why do you want to buy, and that sort of thing. And the advertisers on the back were the subs and suppliers, so you kind of had a captive audience. It's like, hey, if you want to work for this builder, you're going to have to put some skin in the game in their marketing. So that was very successful, but I realized that, hey, if this works for builders to get people interested, why not homes?
Yeah.
Because at the time, the MLS was just a big book.
Yes.
So I literally put a business plan together of, hey, what if Gore had just invented the internet? So I went to a small business meeting with a plan for women, and I said, what about if we came up with a photo, someone would take photos of a home, put it on the internet, and have people come to the office and take a look at that without disrupting the families and that sort of thing. But my hiccup on that for me was, who's going to pay for it?
Right.
And how is it going to be widely used? And then now, lo and behold, how many years later, that the North Star MLS, which is like, I need to capitalize on some of those things. So I've always been innovative and kind of progressive in how I think, but sometimes I just don't quite cross the finish line.
Yeah, well, a lot of us are that way in regards to ideas. I know I was thinking back, I don't know, I think it was probably 20 years ago with even doing VRBO, right? And look, like, if you have a house, why not, we were using, a lot of people were using Craigslist back then when I initially thought of this too. It's the same thing. It's like a lot of us will have these amazing ideas, and then somebody else executes on it, right? And puts the dollars in to actually make it work. But that's a pretty cool story about having the flyers, especially on selling advertising on the back of receipts. My wife's grandfather, he became really wealthy by selling advertising on bowling sheets, right? If you remember back in the day before they had all the electronic scoring, he had a company called Strike and Spare. And it was all selling advertising to basically giving them the score sheets, but having local people sell advertising for it.
Same placemats.
Yes.
You see that all over the place. And that's what they did. We did with the receipt tape advertising. We provided the receipt tape, and grocery stores run on a very thin margin.
Yes.
So if you can provide them with the receipt tape, depending on the size of the grocery store, you're saving them $40,000 a month or what have you. So you provide that, but you make a boatload of money on the receipt on advertising.
That's wicked
and
smart.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. I wonder if they still do that, or if that's went away. Because I know
they still have it.
Yeah.
CVS's receipts are like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You get the customer surveys or the things to where that's really neat. There's some of those things. Obviously, my grandfather-in-law, that business went out because everything went digital. Right? And it's like nobody's filling out score sheets. But I remember even in high school having to. You had like your phys ed class taught you about bowling, right? You'd have to know how to score, right? The strike, spare, how it calculates, but neat. All right.
Yep. So that's that aspect.
Got it. So that was probably what happened in between then. You got married, right?
No, I ended up.
When were you married? Tell me that when your first marriage, kids. How old were you?
Oh gosh. Well, I was not your traditional family, much to my mom's dismay. My son was 2 years old when my ex-husband and I got married.
Okay.
And while I was dating my ex-husband, I was in car sales of all things.
Yes.
So obviously sales related again. And then we had Nicholas, and then I stayed home from that point on. So we got married in 1998.
Okay.
And how old that makes me, I don't even remember
all right.
anymore.
We're good. We're good with that. I think we covered it when you said that
my 40-year class reunion.
When you graduated, I think that gave us the answer on that one. But so sales, you went to car sales. That's really neat. I think that relates a lot to what our industry is, because it's the same thing. You're working with people to deliver a referable experience. And especially when it car sales, I mean, the people that are amazing at it have their own book of business, right? It's one of those, I still to this day get a Christmas card or whatever for this guy, James DiPolito. If he's still out there, shout out to James DiPolito. And it was in Ohio, very first car I ever bought, right? I think I was 17. My brother co-signed for me.
Nice.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy about that, especially when I was a kid. Because to me, if your payment was due on the 1st, but I knew you had a 30-day grace period before I'd report on credit, it was like, okay, well, that means it's due on the 28th. And every month, he's like, why are you not? And I'm like, well, it's not late until it's there, so I have the time.
Are you still that way?
No. Now I'm kind of every 2 weeks, right? I stick it with my pay cycle. So like every 2 weeks, I pay out everything that if I owe money, I pay it.
Yep.
I don't like debt.
Me neither.
It's kind of one of those things that create anxiety for you. And but yeah. Anyways, I'm no longer that way, which is a good thing. But sometimes you got to learn the hard way, right?
Yep. As long as it's not too painful.
Correct. Well, I've been in the mortgage industry 22 years, so it's been painful. All right. So car sales, you're a stay-at-home mom, which is an amazing job. My wife does that. It's like some people don't give that enough credit because it really, you're either paying somebody to raise your kids or you're doing it. So
16 years I was home with the kids.
So after the period of being a stay-at-home mom, what was the next step for you then at that point? What did you get into? Is that when you got into real estate?
I did get into real estate, and this is actually a blessing and and a sadness at the same time. When my youngest was in first grade, my ex-husband thought that I had a little bit of extra time 9 months out of the year, so he wanted me to go to work. Prior to that, I'll backtrack a little bit. Prior to that, I had started a business for him, got his first sales. He's in telecommunications, got his first sales and, launched his business for him with my sales techniques. And at that point, then he said, well, now that you've got time, why don't you come and work for me? And I thought, I already do everything for you. I don't want to do your job for you too.
Yeah.
I want to do something on my own.
Yep.
And so then I got into real estate because I've always loved homes, and it's kind of my history with sales and car sales. If you think about it, car sales and home sales, those are the biggest purchases that you're likely to make. And if you can
most people buy them, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody has them. And if you can help people make the best decision for themselves, then you've done something good for society.
Correct.
So I got into real estate, and in 2008 and 9 of obviously the worst time to get into real estate, but was successful my entire real estate career. And
doing
then
a lot of short sales and
no, I didn't get into that avenue of it. I did a lot of first-time home buyer because obviously at that point there were a lot of opportunity for first-time home buyers.
Prices were cheap.
But we're looking at houses. I mean, I thought it was a big loan if it was $190,000 property, and I thought, ooh, it's a big payday.
Yes.
Now it's like $190,000. It's unheard of. You can't find anything.
You can't find anything that's livable at that point.
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
So with the real estate start, who did you work with? I know you worked for a mutual friend of ours at one point, but where did you start?
Remax Results.
Okay.
And I've always been a team-oriented person.
Yeah.
So I've always been on a team. I was always at Remax Results through my entire career. Absolutely enjoy that atmosphere and what John Colopy brings to the table there. But I would go from one team to a different team, and with different opportunities and different ways to grow.
Sure.
And one thing that I always recognized when I was in real estate is, okay, what's my future business? So I focused on first-time home buyers, knowing that they were going to sell.
Move-up buyers at that point, and
and I've translated that into my mortgage career as well. You help the first-time home buyer. First of all, you're blessing them greatly with giving them the best service and product, and then they are the ones that know the most people that are in that same demographic.
100%.
So if you do well for them and you ask them for their referrals and treat them well, they're going to give you referrals, and then in 3 years they're going to move again, they're going to come back to you. So it's building that pipeline.
It really is. I mean, there's a lot of people that think that mortgage or real estate doesn't have residual income. It's just different, right? To me, my book of business is my residual income. I know if I did a great job for a client 3 years ago, exactly like you said, a first-time home buyer, it's my job to stay in touch with them, right? Even if it's, I always I do two things in the morning. I have a morning practice every day. One, I call my mom every morning.
Nice.
So they call my drive. She looks forward to it. She even sent me a nice text. Shout out to my mom. I look forward to, thanks for giving me something to look forward to, right? The other thing I do is I try to reach out to 5 people a day, and 5 people I haven't spoke with, right, in a while. So a lot of times it's past clients, might be a realtor, might be an insurance agent, but I try to at least touch 5 people a day. And a lot of times it's, I use loan closing anniversaries, or I don't have it structured. I just know for me, like staying in contact with the people that you've served, that's your residual income in this industry, right? So, all right, mortgages now, we did real estate. I know you ended up working for a good buddy of mine with the pro team, also with Remax, Ryan Fisher. He obviously, you got to learn some great nuggets from him. He's an amazing human, by the way, really.
Hardworking.
He is. He's just.
Salt of the earth kind of guy.
Yeah, it was fun to watch him transition from, he had a chiropractic background coming into real estate. I remember the team that he was on, I think it was like the Home Finder team or something, before he started his team, right? There was a couple of good guys that came from them. I know him, Sam Stedman. There was a lot of guys that ended up growing really successful teams, but they all started at the same place. And that's when I initially met them. So what made you decide to, what was the appeal for you of transitioning from real estate to mortgage, and what was the reasoning behind it?
I got remarried back a little bit better than 2 years ago. And my husband, he was a captain at the Sheriff's Department in Hennepin County for 33 and a third years. So you can imagine what he's been through all of his career. And he retired a year ago, last December 31st. So our goal was at that point to buy property, and we have property in South Dakota, build out there, and then his dream is to live there 6 months out of the year. And I thought, well, I can't really do real estate and not be in Minnesota, and I can't give out my referrals and take that kind of thing. And I thought, and I had always been in tune with what the mortgage side of things were with my real estate clients. I always, knew what they, kind of knew what they were going to expect, and, kind of prepped them so that we became a team and a unit. And I thought, well, that would be the perfect opportunity is to switch. And then I was hired on, transition to a unnamed mortgage company that I worked for. And I started in May of 2021, rookie of the year, my very first year out. And I was looking at the loans that I had in 1 month. I was maybe in the industry 3 months, and I had 12 loans. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Then the environment changed, because obviously, if you remember back in 2021, you didn't have to be on the broker side in order to make money or to get loans.
You were order takers at that point. Anybody that the difference between us offering 2.75 and retail offering 3.5, there was still plenty of benefit, and there was more business than what there was people to serve.
Right.
So,
well, and of course, when you start in the retail world, they're not going to tell you about the broker world. They're not going to tell you the benefits to a borrower. They're not going to tell you the benefits as a loan officer for going to the broker world. So, I mean, broker world was a bad name. And I moved out of that position, seeing the writing on the wall on how fast they were growing, and it wasn't sustainable. When I couldn't even do my nephew's loan and make money and give him the best product, I thought, there's got to be something better, because there is other things out there. Then I went to a hybrid broker where I could just determine my own pay rate. And I could, and I saw some of the different lenders. I think we had a half a dozen lenders that popped up on our Encompass, and that we could choose between. But even at that point, I thought, I'm not competing in rate. And, my managers or my direct bosses per se would tell me, well, it's not always about rate.
Oh yeah. It's about the relationship.
Because they don't want to lose you.
Correct.
Because I am aggressive and I'm really good at what I do, and I'm not patting myself on the back. I am good at what I do because I care.
That's it.
And
100%.
And I morally could not tell somebody, hey, use me.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you spend $50 more a month if you use me because you like me.
Yeah.
And then I look at that and I thought, would I do that?
Right.
And if I wouldn't do that, why would I expect somebody that I care about to do that? And I literally care about all my clients.
Yes, 100%. It's kind of funny. One of our team members that we brought on, I don't know, Jay White, he's out of Georgia. He's been with us. I think you got a chance to meet him, right? And when we went out to
Yes.
UWM Live.
It's been a whirlwind.
He called his friends that were his past clients after he came on board and saw what the difference was. And he was like, I'm sorry. He's like, I had to call him and apologize.
Yeah.
And it was just reminding me of that story when you said that, because it really is. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, there's two goals we have in life. One, right, to be self-sustaining. You can support yourself, support your family, meet your goals. But then the other part is like being honest and fair.
Yep.
And when you know that you're having to sell, such a higher price on something, it's like, even if I was selling an orange, and
Yep.
if I'm selling the same orange here for $1, but they're selling
'Cause you're
it
at
for
Byerly's.
$3, at the store right across the road. Well, what is the difference? Well, we have a relationship. We're good people. Like, well, wait a minute. Good people care about not only the experience that they deliver, right, which is the same. You can be an amazing LO and deliver a great experience and sell an overpriced product, right? But the people, I think that
And then not sleep.
The people that I've attracted and how I am, it's like I really want to have it to where I feel good about what I'm doing, right? I think similar to you, I care about my clients and I care about my reputation on being authentic, right? Like, if I know, like, there's times even now when we have amazing rates and pricing, but there's still times we take cuts to do things when you say borrower paid, because there's somebody else that might have been a little better. And we understand that money for mortgages is a commodity. Right. Now, if I'm selling that commodity overpriced and trying to use my reputation with them as the value proposition to charge more, you don't feel good about it.
No, you
right?
can't sleep at night.
No, you really can't.
And then you don't remember who you treated well and gave them the extra care.
Yes.
Per se.
Yep.
And those that you're like, oh, they're okay. You
Yeah.
know, and I don't want to live like that.
No.
I don't want somebody, because this world is small.
Very.
And if, you treat somebody in one way and they run into somebody and they say, well, what do you mean? I
Yeah.
mean, all of this social media stuff, we're asking for referral business and we have no idea where their fingers are and
Yep.
how big their roots are. I'm not going to be the one that they come back to and said, well, why did you do that for them?
Yeah.
I don't operate that way.
No, I'm the same way. I mean, at the end of the day, regardless what name you're powered by that you work with, you're the individual that drives that business,
Yep.
right? It's not like they looked up and said, oh, now Mary went here, I'm going to start sending her business because of that. They don't care, right? I mean, they care about you, like, they like you, they want to
Right.
work with you.
They'll give me an opportunity.
Yeah, because of your ethical responsibility to serve them, right? And I think that's what a lot of people that have that mindset, I always see them flourish, because when you put others first,
Yep.
and you're, it's giver's gain, right? I mean, if you're willing to give more than you're looking to receive, you get rewarded beyond
Yep.
belief, right? And
Yep.
to me, that's how when I went from, I worked at a bank at Waterstone Bank in Maple Grove.
Yep.
Amazing teams, like great loan officers that I still know, a lot of them, still friends with them. They're still on the retail side, a lot of them.
Oh my goodness.
But even then, for me, it was like, okay, this is frustrating. Why is my rates and cost so much off what a broker was doing? And they're getting paid more. I remember asking myself, what am I missing?
Yep.
Right. And then I would even talk to, at that point you talk to the branch manager or the owner of whatever retail outfit. For me, it was, two guys that I had a immense amount of respect for. And it was like, well, you need to sell relationship, right? Like, I'm like, okay.
Same old talking point.
That's what it is. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I can sell the relationship, but I can also sell cheaper money and make more. Like, so what am I missing?
Right.
And then finally after, there was so much misinformation of saying like, okay, well, great, it feels so nice to have an underwriter in my office, right? Like that was the thing for a while. Well, my underwriter is right down the hall. I can go talk to her if I need to. And I'm like, okay, I can see where that can be of value. But then I saw the other end of it to where now I only have one person that has an opinion that they've drafted, right? And an underwriter, that's their job, is to make sure that they're creating a sellable asset, and there are things that require a judgment call or an opinion.
And depends on their day.
And it does, yes. So what ended up happening for me, and this is what really started my partnership with Chris and Chantel and us opening Edge, was I was sending them the deals to where I had an opinion that I didn't agree with, but I felt confident enough in the guidelines where I put my name on a pre-qualification letter that this will work, and send it to them. They'd close it. They'd normally take a picture of the check and like, hey, here it was, this was an $11,000 commission. The rate was almost a point better, and it was like, okay, I'm done drinking the Kool-Aid. I know for me, if I can master the process, and for a while as a broker, that was very tough because everything was a little archaic, meaning, right now with UWM leading from a technology side, they make it fairly easy, right? It almost has a retail feel where you do have, you have the support, you have the communication, you have the technology. Where for the longest time, that wasn't the case. Everybody was using this Encompass TPO, like some of our lenders still do. You'd have to request disclosures, wait 2 days to see what they'd look like. I still managed those situations and still delivered a good experience. But now, why we've seen the broker channel grow so much is the technology has gotten there to where it's a level playing field from that standpoint now, if not even an advantage in some areas that we have. But I didn't mean to get off on that tangent. Let's go back to you, okay? And
but you're passionate, and that's why I'm here today, because circle back to my doing the NMLS.
Yeah.
You saw a need in a broker world, and you saw an opportunity. You did the legwork for us.
Yeah.
So for me, there's a learning curve when you get into mortgages, which was more than I thought it was going to be, coming from real estate to mortgages. So I got my feet wet, and I am grateful I didn't come right away out of the chute, because I do have some background knowledge, and it's like, okay, I know this is what I need to do. I know these are the questions I need to ask. Heck, when I first started in mortgages, nobody even told me I needed to do an income calculator.
Yeah.
I had 5 loans in the pipeline, and they're like, you didn't do an income calculator? It's like, well, isn't that what you're supposed to train me to do?
Yeah.
So
it's not what underwriting does? Well, yes, but that's after you've already put a letter with your name and your license number on it.
Right. So there's a bit of a learning curve. So you do have to be, a go-getter in a sense. But
I call it entrepreneurial, by the way, because I think for even our company, like we utilize our lenders to help with some of the training. But at the same time, the resources are there, but you have to be resourceful. And this is where this job isn't for everyone, right?
No.
Yes, great rewards. You get to help people achieve, the greatest asset that they will ever have in their life, right? You get to help them build wealth, create generational wealth, as the difference between somebody who owns a home and doesn't, create stable homes. There's so many good things about it, but you have to be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Right? And I think for you, even coming over, I haven't had to do much, right? Like for you, it's like, okay, hey, I need help with this real quick. I'm stuck. And you know how to get that help. And that just means sometimes standing outside of my office, right? Like, hey, I'm ready. I need but other than that, it's like you figure stuff out on your own. And those are the people that do the best in this industry, that have the entrepreneurial mindset, that maybe need some bumpers. Like, okay, hey, I don't quite.
There's the bowling.
Yeah, that's it. Like, what do I do in this situation? Okay, well, you have the support for that. You don't have the support to tell you, okay, you need to calculate income on a file, because that's your job, right? Like, so for us, it's as we've grown in scale, it's been tough to identify those that have the entrepreneurial mindset. But in my opinion, it's key. When
Yes.
you look at, I would say, some of our best team members, Major Singleton being only in the industry, 3 years. Like, well, how did he do it? Well, it's simple. He dug in. He had the thumb pointer mentality to where, okay, I can find the answer to this. I can do this.
Right.
And that's really the way this industry is. It's set for you to be kind of your own business, right? We're here to help and make sure from a compliance, legal, payroll, lender relationships, we take all of that on to where for you, just like as a real estate salesperson,
Yep.
great, they may have given you a lead or two, but it's all on you,
Yeah.
right? It's on you to either, are you communicating with the client so they know what to expect? Are you thorough? And I used to be a real estate broker, so I screwed up, right? I remember the one time that I screwed up, and I had printed the MLS sheet and said everything on the MLS sheet's included. Well, it said washer and dryer hookup. It didn't say washer and dryer, and they took the damn washer and dryer. And it's like, okay, well, I learned a $2,200 lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I bought them a washer and dryer, and I knew going forward now, I'll never make that mistake again.
Yeah. I had my very first real estate experience. I was with the team lead and we were driving, and I was going to a listing appointment with him, and he got a random call for a horse property out in Delano. And he's to show it. He's like, "You want it?" I'm like, "Sure." I've never shown a property before. I don't know anything about horses, much less horse properties.
Yeah.
So I go out, and I remember this client from my very first client, Jill and Kyle Schmidt. So if you're out there, shout out to Jill and Kyle Schmidt. But I went out and, I told them, I said, "Here's the deal. I don't know anything about horse properties. I don't know what you're looking for there, but I can guarantee you I'm going to get you the best deal, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to help you with the property itself."
Yeah.
So we finally find a home, and it's after hours. We're writing up the contract, and I didn't know who to make the earnest money out to.
Yeah.
And I thought, shoot. So I had them make it out to the seller broker, which is not true. That's not what you're supposed to do. And so then when I found out, I had made it out to Remax.
Yeah.
And it should have gone to the seller's broker to put it into their trust fund account. Of course, no trust funds back in that day. And so then once we got the contract signed, I just said, okay, now that you've gotten the offer accepted, I need you to rewrite the check to the listing broker side, and just moved right on.
Yeah.
Never made that mistake again, but it's just the, baptismal by fire, trial and error. One thing that you mentioned about mortgages and, being authentic and, how important it is. It reminds me of my philosophy. Like I said, if I had my career to do over again, I'd work with kids. When my son was 10 years old, I realized that as a parent, my job isn't to get them up every day and get them to bed and brush their teeth, blah, blah, blah. My job as a parent is to raise good, productive members of society who are self-sufficient and have empathy for others.
Yep.
And that made the discipline that much easier. With my kids, and the love and the guidance. But that's also a philosophy I take in with my business. I'm not here transactionally. I'm not here to, make a home run on this loan and then turn around and high five somebody and say, "Hey, guess how I took," for me, I feel as if, and this is just my philosophy, I don't expect anybody else to buy into my feelings, but if I make a home run on somebody, I feel like I've done them a disservice.
Yeah.
My goal is a relational goal. So it's a transaction per se, but relationships is way more important to me.
Way more important. And you're 100% correct. I love that. So I hope everybody adopts that, because that's the secret in this industry to being a self-sufficient originator. And why do you get to offer lower rates and costs? Because you don't have the marketing expense, right? You're not spending
overhead,
millions and millions of dollars on TV ads and everything else. We do it relationally. So when you cut out a marketing budget for any company, that's where the difference goes to why we can offer, products and rates at the cost that we do. So I hope everybody does take that into consideration, because
it's more fundamental than that too. You've got the big banks or the retail side, and their commodity is loans. Their loan officers bring in that commodity. you've got your managers, you've got your underwriters, you've got your marketing people, you've got your overhead, you've got your buildings, you've got all of those things that your loan officers are generating the income to support.
Yeah.
The one thing that I didn't know, you touched on this, is, wait a minute, how are you able to make so much money over here? We are selling the same thing. And I kind of equate it to, within any loan, there's a pie.
Yep.
And it depends on how many fingers are in the pie or how many slices they have to cut out before you get your little slice of the pie. In the retail world, this big pie becomes this little slice that you have the opportunity. And in some cases, you don't even get to deviate from what your slice of pie is. In the broker world,
Sometimes
you do.
you're left with no pie.
Exactly.
Those are all the branch managers right now with P&Ls that are wondering, wait a minute, why is my P&L upside down $80K?
Well,
no pie for you.
Right. Well, and the sad thing is that there's, the upper management, they have this mentality that they should still make their salary. And in order to make their salary, they cut the comp rate of their loan officers, which is really cutting the roots of their tree off.
Yeah.
So if anybody's in that position and they feel like they're doing all the work but getting none of the benefits, I would encourage them to talk to the broker world and reach out and, see what we have to offer. And if not us, look for the broker side.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree more. All right. Let's talk about your future plans. Okay. You've been here 3 weeks. You've already got just some stupid things that have happened, right? I mean, let's just highlight you for a second, right?
Thank you.
2 deals clear to close already, is that right?
Yep, 2 deals clear to close. The first one, I did a comparison on rates, this is really what pushed me over the edge. I $726,000
to edge.
To edge, pushed me over to edge. $726,000 loan. I've been working with this couple for a very long time. And, I did a comparison on rates, and in a former broker that I was at, great company, loved the atmosphere and the culture there. I'm not saying anything negative about them at all. Former lender. Thank you. Nothing bad to say.
Yep.
It's just competitive rates. Their rates, I actually, with what I was able to offer them, saved them over $500 a month.
Yeah, it's massive.
And made more money.
Yes.
And
10 years, that's $60,000. I mean, that's a massive difference. Even in a 2-year, because I think everyone that purchases right now, my guess would be they're probably going to refinance in a year and a half anyways. Yep. That's a big difference. I would much rather spend $6,000 and take my family on vacation in a year compared to just giving it to a mortgage company because of a relationship.
Right. And in that rate, they didn't pay for.
Yeah.
There was no loan origination fees on it. So it's not like I said, okay, I can get you this rate, but I'm going to make you pay these points to do it.
Yeah.
And again, this is with my relational kind of thing. Could I have made more money? Yes, I could have made a home run on that one.
Yep.
And he would have been none the wiser. That family would have been none the wiser because I had established that relationship. But morally, I couldn't do that to them because I understand they're in an industry, a teacher and an attorney. What better referral source than
100%.
Something like that?
100%.
So super excited about that. And then I did a refi.
So hold on. On that
ahead.
one, what was your timeline?
Oh, my goodness. Less than 10 days.
Yeah, I
clear
know
to close.
I've seen 2 loans for you so far.
One was clear to close in 2 days.
2 days, yeah. And
2
that
days.
one was, that one have an appraisal or no? That one had an appraisal.
That was appraisal waiver.
And the one with an appraisal, you were clear to close. And I think it was 9 days because they were a single digit. So, which is just outstanding. I mean, to me, that's where, yes, you can have the relationship side, but the thoroughness and entrepreneurship of understanding quality in, quality out.
Yep.
Like you can still have a bad experience on the broker side if you're bad at your job. Right. Which means like, okay, I'm just going to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. Yep. And I've already seen that that's not how you do things, right? You are thorough, good with communication, clear closing your files in 10 days or less, delivering a great value proposition for your clients, creating a referable experience. I'm excited for you.
I am too. Well, and to your point on thorough files, that's not just a thorough file from the client aspect. That's actually a thorough file with presenting it to your processor.
Yes.
That's where I'm grateful. I've had the last 2 years of learning how to put together a complete file.
Yep.
The files that I would turn in were very clean. And I probably, you and I talked about this, I probably turn in more for files. I'll look at the tax records, I'll upload this, I'll get mortgage statements, I'll get, they're divorced, I need a copy of your divorce decree. A lot of things that I know that they're going to ask that I'll ask for up front while my clients are gathering documents. So the file I turn in is going to be as clean as possible too. My goal is to not have any hiccups for people that I work with as well. So it's not just my clients that I try and have a seamless production with, but it's also the people all my team members, people I work with. And that's just, and that's my personality. That's my personality type as well.
I like that personality type, by the way.
Thank you.
So 5 years from today, I always end us with this question. One, where do you see the industry, and where do you see yourself in 5 years from today?
5 years from today. Well, first of all, I'm never retiring, so don't have
Me neither.
Fears of that.
My wife may not like that, but I'm kind of in the same boat, even though she likes it too. We like our job. When you're helping people, it's like I don't know. To me, it's been one of the toughest things for even right now, because I'm transitioning from not originating as much and trying to help our team members and working on growth.
I'm waiting for those leads. So
I have them. So they'll be coming. They will be coming. That's for sure. But 5 years from now, what do you see?
5 years from now, I see myself continuing to work with Edge. The culture here is phenomenal, and the opportunity is great. It's as great as you want it to be. I see my daughter coming in as maybe an assistant for me, so I can transition some of my business to her. I don't ever plan to retire. I may be less in the office at that point because I have more knowledge. I will say that anybody coming on, I think it's important that they come to the office so that they have people that they can ask questions of, and you get that fire underneath you when you're in the office. So if you're feeling a little struggled, come to the office. That's why we have the bullpen in there, which that's another thing. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad you're here, but you bring some of that energy in too, right? Well,
I see it. You've got in that area right now between Josh and you, and Nicole's there calling our recruits that are coming in. It's a good synergy of people that are willing to learn, that don't have an ego, right?
Yep.
There's nothing, you could be the most successful billionaire and it wouldn't change you. I can just tell that.
Thank you.
You've been through enough success, down times, up times, to where you're steadfast with what you do, right? I'm here to help people. I want to give them the best. I want to deliver a good experience. And
the money follows.
Yeah. So 5 years, having your daughter helping, maybe coming in, helping you with that aspect. Are you planning on going to South Dakota then? Is that the game plan?
Okay, Dave, sorry.
Yeah.
We will build out there.
Yes.
We put the build on hold because building prices were astronomical.
Yeah.
Slab on grade, 1,600 square foot was $650,000 without the land. We already own the land.
That's crazy.
And I said, you know what? That's a want.
Where is that? Sioux Falls or what?
No, in Custer, South Dakota, 11 acres, beautiful acreage. Yeah. But I said, you know what? That's a want, not a need.
Yeah.
And when a little history, when I left my ex-husband, he left me penniless.
Yeah.
He wanted to bury me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't let that happen. And I would lay in bed at night and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And I just looked at the mantra in my head is I've never failed.
Yep.
I'm not going to fail at this. I've never failed. I'm going to be self-sufficient. I'm going to be independent. So, and that was back in 2012. So I've gone from literally borrowing $7,000 from a friend of mine.
Yeah.
A great friend, Tom, thank you so much. But from that to raising my kids pretty much on my own and, being able to buy them cars, help them with college, own my own home, have zero debt in the course of 12 years from being a stay-at-home mom for 16 years. But that's the drive. I had beautiful. Nothing.
Good.
Yeah. So, Dave, you asked me back to that question I'm a
Sioux
squirrel.
Falls just isn't the
It's
winter
Custer.
destination.
No,
I mean,
it's
the
Custer.
frozen. Okay, I'm sorry. South Dakota
Yeah,
is
no.
not so much the retire. I mean, I know it's beautiful in the summers, right? I think
It is absolutely gorgeous.
there's a resort there that I have a friend. It's like hunting, fishing. I mean, they have a lot of amazing things.
Yeah, and my husband finds a lot of peace out there, and that's
Yeah.
what. But I don't plan to be out there 6 months out of the year. I now have a granddaughter. She's a little over 2. She's the light of my life.
How exciting!
And I'm very close to my kids.
Yeah.
So my being out there 6 months at a stretch means I'm away from my family and my
Yeah.
kids and my core for that length of time, and that's just too long for me.
It's a 3-hour drive, though. Right?
Yeah, 8, 9.
8?
Yeah, to Custer, 9 hours.
Okay, it must be on the whole west side.
Yeah,
because
it's
I'm
near
driving
Wyoming.
to Sioux Falls next week.
Yeah, it's near Wyoming.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll go out there for a month at a time, and that was the other reason to get into the mortgage industry. As long as I've
work
got
from
secure,
anywhere.
as long as I've got secure Wi-Fi, I'm okay. I can
100%.
work from wherever, and so we'll go out there a month at a time, but then we'll VRBO.
Yeah,
In the
good.
meantime, so that's the goal.
Good. I
Yeah.
like it. Well, I'm excited for your growth with us. I'm excited for your clients, and what you provide. I think that truthfully, the options for you are like unlimited, right? Like, what do you want? Because I think no matter what you want, you're going to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want, right? Do you want to build a team? Do you want to just continue growing your originations? You hit it on the head. For me, when I go on vacation, I don't put an out of office on. Right? I
Right.
mean, all I have to do is answer my phone.
Right.
And you can have a team to help support you to where, okay, hey, I'm on vacation with my family. Most people, not most, all people like and respect authenticity. Right? It's okay to be human and go on vacation with your family.
They appreciate that.
They do.
It gives them permission to do
Yeah.
the same thing then.
Yep.
Because they've all
100%.
been there.
100%. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm excited, as I told you, for the growth. You've really went all in, even like right when you came on board, you said, yeah, I'll go out to UWM Live, let's learn and do it. You went out, you could tell that you're soaking up the more information, becoming knowledgeable, not arrogant, confident, but entrepreneurial. So
Right.
if I could say, like, who does Edge look for? It's Mary Myhre's, right?
Thank you.
You've been
Thank
been
you. I
amazing.
appreciate that.
So,
And it did reinvigorate me. I will say in the retail world when I was, I was down, and my loan production wasn't all that great, not because there was an opportunity, but because I couldn't win the deal.
yeah.
And that's demoralizing.
It is.
You know,
You
and-
can't have the confidence to sell when you're trying to have a false value proposition.
Right. And you can't, and I can't lie to somebody.
Yeah.
I can't look them in the eye and say, I'm giving you the best product.
Yeah.
I can't. That's
Yep.
just not who I am. So nope, this is where I'm meant to be.
Good. Well, we're excited to have you. So thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have another great team member with Edge Home Finance sharing their background, why it is that they've chosen Edge Home Finance as their last NMLS change. Hope you all have an amazing week.
Thank you.